Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Veteran Lane YouTube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. This is a fantastic topic we're going to talk about today, as all of them are. This one actually comes from a request from the comments of a viewer. So we're going to dig into that in a minute. But if you haven't been to the channel before, this might be your first time stumbling across us or having been shared our link. Welcome. I'm excited to have you here as well. This is a channel where we do our best to educate. I don't do any advising on this channel because I don't know all the facts and I don't want everybody putting all their personal information out there on their case. But if at any time you do want to talk about your case, I am a VA accredited attorney. My name is Matthew Lang. You can go to veteranlang.com and schedule a time with me for a free case evaluation or a consult, and we can discuss what you got going on and see how we can help. Now, let's get into this topic. This is exciting for me because we did a short video a while back about some of the challenges that could exist that could delay a claim and change the amount of time it takes. Because one thing we do face is everybody's claim is being worked at a different pace. So I wanted to get that information out there. But I think this request here actually really helps add to that video quite a bit. So the idea is, how long is a claim taking right now? Well, the VA actually provides public reports, which is probably really hard to find in their website, just because there's so much information about the VA in there and all the different benefits and everything going on. It's just a really robust site, so it can be hard to find stuff, and I understand that. But don't worry, I got you. I've pulled these reports out. I'm going to do my best to put them in the description below, the links to them, so you can see these. Now, the other problem I think we may have for a lot of people is this may look like a foreign language. Just because it's a bunch of numbers, it's a bunch of different ways of breaking it down, and it may look a little confusing. So let me simplify it as much as I can today without simplifying too much. But let's knock it down a few pegs and make it make sense. So what we're really going to look at again is how long is it taking the VA to process your claims, veterans. Now, whether that be a supplemental claim, a higher level review claim, a Board of Appeals claim, whether that's a claim you filed for an increase, whether it's a claim you filed for the first time, whether it's your whole first claim completely, this information is all out here, and this is what we're going to look at. So let's start with what they call the rating bundle, and that's your increased claims, your new claims, original claims, and anything alike there. So this report here that they have comes out actually every Monday. They call them the Monday morning reports. I'm going to be shy one Monday, it's the 17th, on this before the video post, just because I got some other things going on in my schedule, but I do want to get this topic discussed. So I am actually going to show you the report from March 10th, from that Monday there. But keep in mind, I don't think the numbers are going to change drastically at all within this report and the next report. So we'll still get a good idea of what's happening here. So from this report, it really breaks down the number of claims that are pending in the VA. We've got, for the rating bundle anyways, 934,183 according to this report. We're underneath the million line, and we're really down towards that 900,000. So we've had some improvement over time there, with claims being worked and not as many pending in the system. Now, the VA does have a goal when it comes to this rating bundle of completing things on average of 125 days. So you're going to see this in the report as well. It looks a little concerning on the surface, I think, at this point, because the number of claims that are pending beyond 125 days is being recorded as 247,580. And I apologize, I'm going to throw a lot of numbers here without showing anything on the screen just because how massive this is. So bear with me. I hope you don't doze off on me. Maybe the numbers excite you too, so maybe this will be good. But anyhow, that is being reported at 26.5% of the claims that are pending right now in the VA underneath that rating bundle that have been pending for more than 125 days, so they're outside of their average day goal. Now, are we going to have claims above that time frame? Sure. We are focusing on an average because claims could have different things that happen in them and the different facts, and all that other stuff we've talked about before that could keep the claim longer, could process them quicker, and then so we get an average. But VA is running close to 27% here behind their goal. So I don't know right now where their margin of error is and how far off that goal they feel is okay. But do know we're about 27%. Now, there's a couple other things to look at too. Is the VA will break things down based upon average days pending and average days to complete. So average days pending number that they're reporting is how long are claims pending on average right now. So when we consider the number of claims that are over 125 days, the number of claims that are underneath 125 days, that are still currently in the works, what's that average number a day? So that average number of day right now is 100.1, but we're going to say 100 according to this report. So if you want to look at that number, VA is still within their goal of making the 125 days. So maybe that's our margin of error there. We're still ahead of that goal. Well, VA is still ahead of that goal at this point. So it may look bad, I think, is what I'm trying to say at the beginning, but when we kind of break it down another way, average days of 100 days is definitely within the goal line. Now, the average days to complete, though, is how long it took the VA to complete the claim from the date it was received until everything was done with it and it was cleared off of their system. We're not talking about when it gets put back into the system for supplemental claims or high-level reviews and so forth. This is when from here to decision and authorization done. Now, this total is over the average 125-day goal for the nation, or it's reporting at 140.7 days to complete. So about 141. So veterans, with all these numbers in mind, I think what we can really take from this is when you're asking yourself, how long is it taking the VA to complete my claim? I think the expectation is about 141 days based upon the report right here. 141 days is what you got to expect. I typically will tell veterans when they do ask upwards to 6 months, because I don't know what's going to happen this month. I don't know what's going to happen next month. I don't know if something's going to stand in the way and cause the time to go up. I don't know. Maybe something will happen will cause the time to go down. But in the end, I try to prepare you for more of a worst case scenario, because I find that when I used to say how long the average was here or give it around that mark, I was then ending up with veterans that were getting stuck in the system longer, and then everyone's like, well, you said. I'm like, I know. So veterans, I think it's a good practice if you want to get an idea of how long you're going to be waiting for your claim. Just kind of take that 141 days, bump it up a little bit. I would say between 125 days and probably 180 days. So you get the worst case scenario, and then you got the average. And then there's a lot too that get done even faster than that. So that's kind of my approach on it. But actual numbers, 141 days approximately there. Now the report's going to go down through a process of breaking down all the different offices, the districts. Now the VA regional offices are broken into districts: the Northeast, the Southeast, the Continental, the Pacific. So you can definitely see where they all ride there, where their averages are, where each office sits on their days pending and so forth. I don't want to call anybody out here. I think the VA is doing that for you right here. So you can definitely go look at those reports for those areas. This is something else that could delay your claim or make your claim go faster. Veterans, sometimes there's just certain things going on in certain offices, whatever that case may be. So if your claim does hit a certain office, it just may take longer, or it may go quicker too. But overall, 141 days. So that's really kind of the rating bundle there. We just broke that down real easy. So when we go looking at the different reports here, we can move to what they call the AMA matrix reports. So this is the Appeals Modernization Act. It came out in 2019. Well, it was effective in 2019. And this is the way we track appeals now. Now, there's definitely some old legacy stuff, as they call it, prior to the law change, that's still hanging out there and taking some time, even about 6 years later. Why that is, I can't speak to that, but do know that those are still taking much longer than they probably would like to be taking, but they're kind of stuck in the system at the moment. But they are working them, and I know it's the focus. So hopefully someday we can get that fixed and cleaned up here. So when we look at these matrix reports on the VA website, they break them down in quarters. So these are done at the end of each month. So we don't have the end of this month yet. We're about the middle of it. So we only have January and February for 2025. But we can also go back and look at 2024. We can look at 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, and 2019. Because remember, 2019 is where the law really came into effect, and we can see where they started the reports on those. So let's open those up. Let's open up 2025. Let's just go ahead and start with the February one, because it's the most recent one. And let's get a look at how long is it taking these supplemental claims, these higher-low review claims, to process in the VA's system. So again, it's a report with a lot of parts to it. Very, I think, scary when you first look at it if you don't have an idea of what you're looking at. But definitely a lot of good information that I'm gonna break down a little bit more for you. So let's start with the supplemental claims and the high-level reviews. Now, this report breaks it apart on what they call end products or EPs. So that's another thing we have to understand about the VA is veterans, when you file your claim, for the VA to track your claim, they have a series of end products. And then this is all public knowledge as well that you can dig for. But these end products will identify your type of claim, essentially. So 030 is your supplemental claims, and 040 is your higher level reviews. So when you're looking at these reports, you have to kind of remember that difference as they put them by EPs and they don't spell out supplemental and higher level review on these. But the report does a lot of the similar stuff here. It tells us the number of pending as of the end of February. Here, when you look at the report, you can see 69,255 claims are pending in the supplemental claim arena. Higher level review, 264,135. How long are those pending? We got 57.6 days pending, and 9 for the supplemental claims at the time of this report at the end of February, and we have 91 days pending for higher level review. Now, one thing I think that we need to take into consideration when we look at why a higher level review is pending not longer is, well, one, clearly we have way more higher level review claims. Two, we also have to remember not every office's main mission is to process high-level reviews. The idea that the VA took, and they've done this with other things too, and it's worked for the most part, is we centralized, or VA centralized, locations. Now, there's more, I think there's at least 3 main locations, but I only deal with mostly 2 that the work tends to go to, and I'm just going to put them out here, but it's St. Petersburg, Florida, and Seattle, Washington. Those 2 I know have been designated because I deal with them the most. So you're going to see a lot of these higher level reviews being usually pushed to those offices that are designated. But when you do look at the report, you do see some other offices handle, like the supplemental claims. Those are everywhere. You'll see the numbers there, but you'll also see how those offices that handle the higher level reviews are also handling supplemental claims as well. So the point being is I think that's one reason we have a little bit of a snag in the system, but at the same time, we also only have so many decision review officers because these are, remember, higher paid and supposed to be more experienced decision makers than the RVSR who have to handle these higher level reviews. But from that, without getting too far in the weeds, we can see the average days pending. We've got 57.6 supplemental claims again and 91. Now, if you remember looking back at the rating bundle report, I think that's good news for the supplemental claims, at least for your veterans. So remember, average days pending for our rating bundle was 100 according to the March report. And now as we look at the supplemental claims, you can see we're just above half of that. So 57.6. So good news there. Supplemental claims are moving faster. Maybe good news. Again, hopefully quality is being done there as well. The high-low reviews are still technically not pending as long. Maybe by now it's about equal. So those are taking about the same amount of time, roughly. So now how long is that taking them to complete it though? So we can see in the report that the VA has completed 23,460 supplemental claims at the end of this month, at that month the number completed for that month, actually for the month of February. And so that was an 87.5 average days to complete. Again, way better than the 141 we were talking about in the rating bundle. We also have the higher level reviews that were completed for the month of 64,930 with an average days to complete at 134.3 days. So again, closer to that rating bundle time frame, but actually a few days faster. So even the higher level reviews are getting done a little bit quicker, according to that report there. Now, I think what is something else to look at is when we consider the average, some of these claims out there I know for veterans that I help are pending, unfortunately, above this 91 days right now. And what I honestly am concerned about is that those that are pending that long seem not to be moving from the VA's national work queue. They get filed, they get signed, and they hit there and they just sit there. So it might be something VA you want to look into. Your claims are getting stuck. Veterans are sitting back here wondering what's going on, and I have nothing to tell them because all I can see is it's stuck, and then I just keep reporting it's stuck and hope it comes unstuck. So just throwing it out there for you, VA, to help your process a bit. We can see from the report also that we have the fiscal year to date time frames. We do see that the month of February was slower on average than the fiscal year, but we are still around 81.3 according to this report for supplemental claims, 139.2 for high-level reviews. Now, I'm not going to break down all the offices and the districts and stuff on this one, but veterans, I want you to see this here, though. When it comes to your rating bundle, new, increase, original claims, and it comes to your high-level reviews, you're really looking around that 140, 141 days, I think, on average, according to all the reports. So that's how long it's taking your claims. Now, your supplemental claims do appear to be moving faster. They're a couple months, really about 3 months. It looks like just shy of 3 months. Like I said, the month here was 87.5, so almost that 3 month mark. But the fiscal year to date is 81.3. So I suppose when you want to ask the question of how long is it taking my claim, well, at this rate, I would tell you probably 3 to 4 or 5 months is what you're looking at there. Now, the report also gives us an idea of how many claims are pending with the BVA. So when we get into that part there, we're looking at the direct review, the evidence submission, the hearing dockets. They give you the numbers. They show on this report here 179,310 at the time that are pending at the BVA there at the Board of Veterans Appeals. Now, they don't have on this report that I've seen in a quick nutshell, and it might be in here still somewhere, but they don't really have the number of days pending and so forth there. But if you go to the board's website, you can find the numbers that have all been reported for the fiscal year and stuff up through to Congress. So there's a huge report, 50 pages or so, out there that gives a lot of just dizzying detail of the workload. But what I want to take from that piece is really what I'm seeing back here as well. So their report, I recall breaking it down to the amount of time it's taking to process a BVA claim based upon number of work days in a year. So we got to keep in mind, though, VA and nobody really should be working or is working every day of the week. So we got the weekends, we got Saturdays and Sundays that have come off that time frame. We've got federal holidays. We got 11 of them now that have to come off that time frame as well. And then for DC, there's also other special events that cause closures and stuff and kind of shake things up. But for the most part, we got to look at the idea of an average of 250 work days in the year. Once we take away the holidays and the weekends. So out of that 250 days, roughly, the BVA in their reports say it's taking about 2.7 years to process an appeal. Now, I would say if you put those days back in where no one is working and you just make it that full 365, 366 day year, we're even closer to 3 years, probably on top of 3 years, maybe even a touch over. So that's what I'm seeing back here is about 3 years on average veterans. So there's where that backlog is sitting right now. And I think when we really dig into the numbers at some point, and we won't do it in this video just for the sake of time and how bored everybody might be with numbers now, but I think what we'll see is there's a lot of claims that are going to the board, and that's actually more than anybody's, even them, are able to work. You gotta remember, there's only so many attorneys and judges in the world. We don't have 50 plus offices, regional offices, to work all of these claims. We only have the one location, again, with so many judges and lawyers. So 179,000 plus claims that are pending up there are going to take definitely some time. So 3 years, I would say, is how long it's taking there for your veterans. Now, I know it's not the best thing to hear, especially when I'm your representative and we fight with the lower levels of the VA, and we seem to hit somewhere a snag, and I just can't get anybody to understand. Maybe for some reason I just get the wrong person every time. I don't know, which is always weird to me. It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does happen, I usually have to tell you, hey, I got to send this to the board, but understand the board is taking 3 years to look at it. And I know that's scary, but understand, veterans, that even though it's taking the 3 years, you're likely to get granted, I feel, from the board than you are the VA, just because of the difference in experience and education and training. I mean, when they're judges and lawyers, that's what they're trained to do, is understand law. So nothing against you, VA. I was with you. I started off the street with no legal education at first, so totally get it. Nothing against you. There's still a lot of bright people in the VA, but I think it is a hurdle that we have to jump when it comes to especially days processing claims. Anyhow, let's get off the commentary. The idea is how long is it taking claims? Well, this is how long we're at. If you go on the board of Veterans Appeals, expect 3 years minimum, maybe a touch more, because as more appeals get shoved up there, I'm concerned that date is going to continue to be pushed out. And it's kind of showing already. Actually, if we dug back in the historic reports, I'm pretty sure we can sit here and compare all those numbers and see that. I know when I first came to this side of the table, it was only taking the board about a year. That was about 4 years ago. Now we're up to 3. So I think we definitely see the effects of more appeals. So if you're not that far up, you're probably looking again between that 90 days and 141 days or so, depending on where your claim's at. But 141 days seems to be a good mark to say, yeah, that's about how long it's going to take my claim. Again, how long it takes your claim, though, could be longer, could be shorter. Just depends on, I get so many facts and so many other things going on in the background. All right, I was excited to do that video. I hope there's more comments to say, hey, can you talk about this or hear that? I've always got ideas back here to continue making videos, but I think this is great to connect with everybody a little bit more. I'm hoping that this was the right information that answered those questions for you out there. If not, go, hey, can you not put us to sleep and try a different approach? I'll do it for you. I definitely will, because I want to make sure you got this understanding and see where everything sits. So anyhow, everybody, without taking up more of your time, thank you again for being here, for sharing, for subscribing, liking this video and the ones before it. I will see you next Tuesday, and have a wonderful week.